Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the New Era Paranormal Podcast. This is a pre-recorded episode. My guest for tonight is Valerio, with the Chase Manor in the Finger Lakes region of Western New York. Even though New York is a very well-known location for haunted, or region for haunted locations, there's not a ton of places in the Finger Lakes that are well-known. Dom, do you want to tell us about your background and what
Sure,
your experience has been with paranormal so far?
sure. I've been doing the paranormal. Trying to think about 2004, 2005. I used to work for a tour boat. I had a friend that had a place that was haunted, and I went there and started investigating. And then from that, I just kept going. So I used to be the owner and lead investigator for a team called Upstate Supernatural. We hosted supernatural expos at the Finger Lakes Mall, which we investigated numerous times, and then which is on the Haunted History Trail as well. And then we changed the name to Upstate Ghosts, and I still was doing kind of private investigations. Did a bunch of YouTube content on our YouTube channel, a bunch of different shows, and then I took a little bit of a public break. I was still doing it privately, but not like putting the stuff out there publicly. And we started going to doing like a paranormal road trip, uh, 2023, 2024, 2025, uh, going to like Hinsdale, Wildwood, Rolling Hills, Sweet Home Estates,
Yeah.
and the Chase Manor was on there. And when we came here, I heard a woman's voice, loud and clear, go hello. And I'm actually from this area, so I fell in love with the house and decided to purchase it.
It's pretty cool that there was a convention in the mall. That's obviously well before my time.
Yeah, we did
And
it
that,
for five times. It was I'm trying to think 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19, something like that. And
yeah,
usually we donate the proceeds to charity. If we had extra money, because the mall charged us every time, we would donate to like a
yeah.
children's foundation or a veterans foundation. So it was pretty cool.
And that mall is abandoned now, isn't it?
It's I mean, there's still little mom and pop shops in there. Bass Pro is still there, but there's not a lot in there. But there was actually activity in there. There was a lot of people always wondered why there was activity.
Yeah,
I always kind of said, if you're going to go somewhere to talk to somebody, you're going to go to a place that has a lot of people there. And back in the day, the
yeah,
mall was just that. There was a ton of people there, and then some of them probably were people that passed away, and they loved being there, so they kind of just stuck around. We probably were there 40, 50, 60 investigations we'd done in that mall. Caught some crazy footage, shadow figures, EVPs. Um, we did a public tours, people that were interested, and then they would hear an EVP in there and then run away because they're like, I go here, like this is scary, that there's actually
yeah.
voices in here, but it is what it is.
40, 50 times. That's a lot for one place.
I mean, it was over like 6 years, 7 years. I mean, so it was, 5, 10 times a year. So, but it was uh, quite a large setup because it's such a large venue. I had like 3 DVRs. Uh, it was tons of footage to go through. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always the bane, trying to edit everything and make sure that you don't miss any evidence.
I always told anybody investigating, there's a thrill to it, but really the biggest thrill is going through the stuff because you find things that you didn't know happened. You're hearing stuff afterwards and like, oh my God, there's
Yeah.
a voice there and I didn't know. I go, to me, that's the thrill. That's where you get the highlights.
Yep, and that's where we capture most things. There's a lot of activity that comes through in the moment. But when you do, it's it's a strong interaction, a strong spirit.
Hmm.
And you said that you have encountered that at the Chase Manor.
Oh, absolutely. First time I was walking in, there it was four of us. So the three other guys were off doing the tour. I usually when I go somewhere, I don't like doing the tour. I like just feeling the place out myself. So I
Yeah.
didn't do the tour, and I'm walking in the door with my equipment, and I open the door, and audibly right at the staircase, I hear a female, and I mean, it was like me talking to you, hello, and I was like, what the heck? So I'm setting up the gear. That night, we had a doll get knocked over in the parlor on command, and just a lot of different crazy things were happening. And our next spot to go was Broad Albin, and it's a decent spot too. Like it's a decent. It's just a hotel you could stay at. Um, but then I was like, I'm looking for a house. I'm looking, I've been looking for a house, and I'm really looking to try to find something that's large enough that I can do all the ideas that I have. Because
Yeah.
I work with indie films and stuff. I do 3D printing, music, things like that. So I was trying to find a place that I could like have everything in one place, and it just kind of lined up. It took time to get it, but it lined up, and then once we got everything fixed up, so it was kind of safe for people to be in here. Not the roof was completely shot. We had to get that repaired, and once we did that, it was it's been. I can tell people to come in here with their phone, just take a video, walk through the house by yourself, and you'll probably get like 10 EVPs, like decent EVPs. Uh,
Yeah.
People have heard footsteps, the hallways upstairs, footsteps in the parlor. First night I slept here, it sounded like a bunch of people just going, "Dom's here, Dom's here, Dom's here." I'm like, guys, I got to wake up early. Like, can I try to sleep? And it's just they're vocal. They're very vocal, very intelligent. So it's it's a different experience for sure.
And I see that you post a lot of your content on TikTok, which I've seen that you also had a video of a shadow manifesting in that one hallway.
Yeah, I don't have it. I looked at the surveillance and I don't have it like where I can show it to people. But my friend Josh, he was helping me out with the house, stayed here while he was helping out with it, and we both were standing in front of the bathroom, and there's a doorway to the left. I call it George's room, and then the other doorway is Elizabeth's room. And we're both watching it. It looked like a mist, like in the doorway, and we're both seeing it, but it didn't show up on the surveillance. And like that kind of sucks. Like it didn't show up, but we both saw it, and we're
Yeah.
like, uh. And then the other shadow footage, I just set up a pen light, turned the actual lights on, turned off the IR light, and it only recorded like 15, 20 minutes. And there was like three or four times you're watching a shadow go past the door. The other one was Thanksgiving. I had my friend Renee and her daughter over, and her daughter came out to talk to us, and standing in the dining room with us, you can actually see a shadow slowly walk towards the mirror. And I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
shadow movement in the past, like from other places,
Yeah.
never seen it that slow. Like usually it's really fast. A blink of an eye, you miss it. But that was super slow. And it fits the description of the mirror in the hallway has an attachment. It fits the description of what people have said is attached to that. It's like an Indian, long, greasy, black hair. The shadow itself, it looks like a larger person, kind of hair draped down. So it kind of fits the same description.
And portals being theorized as being, or mirrors being theorized as portals or
And
ways for spirits to
there's a ton
move
here,
around.
ton of mirrors. So
So, when you seen the shadow, was it just solid black or was it anything unique?
Well, the shadow on Thanksgiving, her daughter was going into the library, and she felt like she stopped for a second, and uh, and then her mom asked her. She goes, "Did you just get touched?" And she is like autistic, so she's
Yeah,
sensitive, and she's like, "No, yes, no, 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 no." And then we looked at the footage, and that's when we saw it because I can immediately jump on my phone, pull the footage, and it's about a 2 minute delay before I could really look at it. But then we got to look at this. Something just happened to her. Let's see what's going on, and that's what was seen in the footage. It's really crazy. There's another piece I haven't shared yet. Um, my friend Josh had his dog. I was taking care of her. I'm trying to feed her turkey, and she a couple months ago had a stroke, and then a month later had another stroke. This time, I don't think it was like
unfortunate.
stroke related, but it's almost like somebody slapped her face and kicked her. She flipped over,
Mm,
goes to the other side of the table, and if you slow down the video, you can see a small child looking like shadow fly over to her to like console her. It's pretty interesting. I just with everything going on lately, I haven't had the time to clip it yet, but
Well, that might
it's
also be sensitive material because that doesn't wanna look appealing to everybody.
yeah, yeah. I mean, people aren't going to want to see a dog go through that, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, the reason I asked that is the one time that I seen a shadow, it was, like, staticky, it wasn't solid black.
yeah. I mean, like I can look down the hallway, and usually when I'll see like a blur, like it's a little bit of a blur. Like I'll see straight, and then I just see a blur, but it's almost a silhouette of a person. It's usually how I kind of see them here in the house.
It's interesting. So, when did this location get introduced to the paranormal community?
So the location, it was, I guess, for years it's had activity here. I've actually lived in this area for 21 years. Never heard anything about it, and I mean, I investigated private places, things like that, but
Yeah,
it was right after I moved here that it was in limbo. So like, there's a family that lived here, and then they had things that happened to them, I guess, and the house went into foreclosure. So one bank owned it, then another bank owned it, and then another bank owned it for like 17 years. It was in limbo. So no one really owned it. So it kind of went downhill. There was a lot of stuff that was damaged because of basically the
trespassers.
lack. Yeah, there's a pentagram in the bathtub upstairs. Uh, there was broken windows up in the attic because you had to lock a door. All the roofs are flat, so you could literally climb up, and then you're climbing up, and then you can get in. There was no lock on the door to the attic, so you just climb up and you're in. So you had loiters and things like that, and then uh, Lorna Reynolds and another individual um, ended up kind of partnering up to buy it back in 2020, and she basically was like a caretaker slash co-owner with the person. I don't know all the details. I try not to get too far into
Yeah,
that stuff. But she started doing getting people to come here and start doing paranormal stuff here. And I don't know how many teams she had. I've known her since 2015, and she kept telling me for years and years, "Hey, you got to come here. You got to come here." And I kind of was hesitant because I'm like, I've never heard of the place. You know what I mean? So it took me a while to
yeah,
finally, all right, yeah, let's go there. We were looking for an extra place to go on the paranormal road trip. We're trying to do as many places as we could in a week. We're like, there's 6 days we're gonna be gone. Let's try to hit six places. It was
it's gotta be a
ridiculous.
lot on you.
But I'm happy as hell that I said, yeah, let's check it out. And I wouldn't be where I am right now. Uh, I'm doing it at the location. I'm here at the Chase
Yeah,
right now. So
6 days or a week worth of investigating, that's gotta be a lot.
Yeah, everybody was tired as hell. I was like, I got energy drinks. I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah.
3 hours of sleep every night. Yeah.
What about your psyche and being away from human, like, community for that long?
Well, I mean, we're going to a location, and then what was it? We went to Wildwood, and then I think we did have a break night. We went to Jamestown. My aunt lives there, so I hung out with her for one night. Lucille Ball's buried there, so I like doing cemetery sessions, trying to talk to Lucy. And
Yeah,
then and then there's another cemetery, Guernsey Hollow, really cool place. It's like out in the woods, this hidden cemetery.
yeah,
And
the place is bad. That place is bad news.
I've been there a couple times, never had a bad experience, but definitely had activity, but never a bad experience. And then, yeah, so it was Wildwood, Hinsdale. Right after Hinsdale, you're out of there at 10 o'clock and you got to be at the other place by 5 or 6. So you got a long gap. So we went to like Letchworth and checked out the park, and Geneseo, checked out, kind of make a little touristy thing out of it.
Yeah. So, what are some of the stories associated with a Chase Manor? Who are the spirits?
So, what I've found personally, what Lorna has for information is a little bit different than what I've found personally. So far, I'm at 11 to 15 spirits. I think her number was like 11 or 12, maybe something like that. I mean, it's
Uh,
it's different because everybody does say it's like a portal, so
yeah,
spirits come in and they leave, go. Um, and then I've tried to go through like the historian's office, get the information, the back history of the property. My sister's been awesome with looking up research to give me really more information that like the historian's office doesn't have. So that's been helpful because I want to give truthful, accurate information when people are coming here. I don't want to blow smoke. I want to try
yeah,
to have the facts. But spirit wise, I'm up to about 6 kids, kids, child spirits, all different ages. And then you got Elizabeth, who is Captain George Brown Chase's daughter. She lived here after he died with her husband Dexter. Elizabeth is the woman that I heard when I walked in. She's very vocal. And then there's Marge in Elizabeth's room. Martha is the woman that allegedly hung herself in the closet, and she stays in the closet, but she's in the closet. The George's bedroom, you got George Casey, the original owner of the farm, Captain George Chase, and then there's a David. Kids' room, you got Katie, Vincent, Franklin, Lucy, Emma, and Billy. And then further down, you got Nancy, Frederick, Bruno, Jason. And some of the spirits will, that's on the second floor. Some of the spirits will travel around throughout the house. Billy comes in the dining room, Elizabeth in the dining room, Captain Chase throughout the house, Franklin, kitchen, and basement. And then the barn has at least 2 to 3 adult spirits. George Weaver is a name that they had gotten in the past. And then a new name is Christian, which is, I believe, the one that's the violent one, like the one that holds people down, punches them, things like that. So,
does
but I'm
that come across
still trying to get
often, or is it
still trying to get the facts though, like on that individual that he was ever there. George Weaver, I can get the facts on that. The Christian guy, I don't have any facts yet. And then like the Billy's a very predominantly vocal, strong spirit that comes through, but there's no history of him ever living here. So I'm like, was he a neighbor? Was he did he die before he was ever like the newspapers in this area document really before too much before the Civil War. So anything you're getting is from Civil War on, and the house is from 1815. So you got a large gap of
Yeah.
50 years that there isn't any information, accurate information at least. But
And with the Finger Lakes, is there like native? Well, you already mentioned there's Native American
yeah,
too,
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's Native American ties as well.
because that was very common in the Finger Lakes and cities.
And in George Weaver, to the left of the barn is remnants. You can see like an old fireplace from the Revolutionary War. So I believe, and I did find information on that it was an old Revolutionary War barracks before it was a house, before it was the farm, before it turned into what it is. So that was 1770 70s, when that existed. So as there's a lot of history, but I mean, there's a lot of history in Auburn. Period. Auburn has a lot of history,
Okay, so it is actually in Auburn with other locations that are known to be haunted there.
and it's strange because I've looked it up. I mean, that's actually might be one of the oldest houses. I mean, it might.
Mm.
It's up there. I think the next one that's documented is like 1825, something like that. I mean, business buildings I think are before that, but yeah, I think actual homes or buildings that still exist. I think this is actually one of the oldest ones.
The barracks is pretty impressive though, and that might be a
Yeah,
reason for some spirits to be around.
and there's theories that some YouTubers, things like that, have came here and they've gotten information that like there's kids that are buried out back and there was murderers and things like that. I don't have any facts to support that, and some people are like, they're trying to say, well, you bought a house with people that were murdered in it. It's like it's a house that has spirits in it. It's haunted. I've been to
Yeah,
numerous haunted places. It is a different ball game. Like it's when I first came here, going upstairs, like as soon as it gets dark, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it's like a different world. As soon as you walk up the stairs to the next floor, it's their world. It's you're walking into their world, and I've tried to leave it that way. Like I try to set up all the rooms. I'll jump on a surveillance unit, and as I'm setting something up, I'll try to listen with my phone through the surveillance. Do you like this? And try to get responses to hear if they liked something set up a different way. So I mean,
yeah.
I try to be respectful and honor them through communicating with them to try to figure out how they want it to be. So,
So
it's
once the light goes
totally.
down, you can feel a change and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
just it's a heavy energy. You walk up there and it's just heavy, like it's super heavy energy. Josh, when he was staying here, he'd be in the shower. There's three functioning bathrooms, uh, four four bedrooms that are set up upstairs, and he's in the shower and he's hearing a woman humming behind him.
Mm.
Um, that was one of the times. Then another time he was in there, he gets out and he hears somebody go, "Mm-hmm." And I'm like, I'm not putting a camera in the bathroom. Sorry, buddy. Like, I just got to go with your word on that. That's illegal. But you
Yeah,
never know what you're going to come across. I mean, you could be sitting there. They'll chime in whenever you're talking. Sometimes you could be shooting. Talking about whatever, and they just jump in. You just start hearing a voice
yeah.
talking.
Yep, that definitely happens. I'm actually gonna use the idea of that for a project that I'm working on. But so there is a negative entity or energy that is present from time to time there.
Yeah, I mean, so far since I've been here, I've had a lot more positive experiences, but I have heard there is a negative. The mirror in the hallway here definitely has something attached to it, but lately it's been very um, not active. But as we saw the other day on Thanksgiving, even when we think it's not active, it's doing stuff. And then,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure, with any place, there's going to be some of the spirits, they'll be swearing, they don't like the back room. They'll tell you to get out of there. Like they don't like you there, or down in the basement, even in throughout the house, I've heard growls, like a dog or something growling at you, or a person, or something like that. And then the barn
yeah,
itself, uh, I've gone out there, and I let them know, hey, I'm not here to kick you out. I'm just here to fix this place up and try to have it so you still have a place to live. That's my goal, is to keep this place existing. So they all have a home. And having been to Hinsdale and all these other places, there's nothing like this in this area. So, if you want to go investigate a property, unless it's a private residence or something, you're going 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away. So I'm trying to make it affordable for people that might be interested to have a place near this area that they can come here and investigate. And I have a ton of gear that I have set out for people, because I know people can't afford some of the crazy stuff that's out there. So I got, a bunch of different gear. If you're a beginner to a veteran investigator, I got, stuff to kind of fit everybody. So,
yeah, and you have specialized items that I've seen from Austin Maynard and
yeah, I'm really good
Ron.
friends with John Huntington, and I love his spirit boxes. They're like gold when using a spirit box. You usually get pretty good, awesome responses. And I like Austin stuff. Austin has some unique inventions. The Luminator thing, it's really
Yeah,
cool, and the jukebox thing. I thought that was kind of an interesting box
the
that he's done.
bubbler.
Yeah, yeah. So
Kind of a
yeah,
unique name for a gadget, but
yeah. But yeah, I have a a bunch of the music boxes. There's a young kid, KJK Products, I think is his name, and he makes the music box for like 120, $150. And if you're to go out there and buy the other music box, it's like $500.
yeah,
So I'm like, I'll test it out, promote it, try to get your name out there, because I want to see people grow in the community, and especially somebody that's doing that. I think he's like 17 or 18, the kid making this stuff. Why not help support the kid?
yeah, that's pretty impressive. Is he local to our area or?
No, he's out of state, but he I'm trying to remember. I saw an advertisement, and I think it was a Paranormal Equipment Group, and I saw him advertising for him. Like, I'll give him a chance. And then I got the item, and I was like, it works. And then he came out with another version of it, and I like that version a little bit better. So the older version, I actually just gave that last night to my friend Mikey that investigated last night. So I'm trying to, you try to share the stuff along the way. And spirit boxes, John makes them so affordable. I think it makes people nervous, but they're solid. They're like some of the best spirit boxes. Like I get some of the greatest communication with the stuff. Um, I have been since the first one that he ever made for me. It's sitting right behind me. It's actually right there.
Hmm.
You put a reverb in it, and it's yeah. I've gotten some great stuff with it.
And the spirits there definitely seem to
Yeah,
interact with them quite a bit.
yeah. I've been dabbling with the portal aspect, like what people would call the portal or the spirit box enhancer, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the
It's
pumps and
yeah, it's
wires.
an amp and then a couple pedals, to try to clean up the audio. And then I actually, one of John's boxes, it's a little square box. I've been using that. It's some of the cleanest, clearest. It's a pulse circuit, but it gives me like a nice clean sweep. And then with the pedals, you can kind of tune it in to kind of get a little bit more of a clear response. So, and we just did a Masonic lodge last night for an investigation. My friend Renee, psychic medium, and she and we had a great experience. Caught an EVP of a little girl's voice. It's the first time anybody had ever investigated in there. It was very clear. Everybody was gasping, but we just they just heard this child's voice. There's no children there. And then the spirit box were saying, "Hey, can you tell us what holiday's coming up?" And clearly, Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
So it's really cool.
it's cool and interesting.
Yeah, I've always wanted to find a builder that can slow down in real time what you're hearing. A lot of people would do it through a looper, but you got to record it and then you slow it down. Because I've been telling it for years. If you take if you use DaVinci Resolve or any editing program and put it to 70% when you're doing a spirit box thing, 70% is a sweet spot. Like when you're listening back, you'll hear the stuff almost clearly. But I haven't been able to find a builder yet that can create like a real time thing that you can plug it into your spirit box and it slows it down in real time. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that myself. I've been using the line-in microphones to directly record the spirit box for clearest results.
Mhm.
I actually did one in Canada for a team that we worked with, me and the other co-host for this program. That's going to be coming out soon, but I have to go back through, compare the spirit box audio that I can and sync it with the actual audio, because I was doing two lines, one for the spirit box, one for the actual audio,
Oh, okay, okay. Nice.
because it has multiple channels.
Yeah, John, I mean, I think I used it in the past as the parabolic mic, and John kind of reintroduced it to me at Wilson Castle, and uh, I have it's a Zoom 32-bit field recorder and a 32, or sorry, floating 32-bit. So with the
Yeah,
32-bit, it'll record, and then it'll also record at a lower decibel, so you're not getting any peaks. So we had the parabolic mic hooked to it. We're at Wilson Castle, and I mean we're really really far away. We're in the little circular window room on the top floor. They're in the kids' bedroom, which is probably a good 80, 70 feet away easily.
hmm.
And just holding out the parabolic mic, and we walked over afterwards and we go, "You want to hear the child's voice that you've been trying to talk to?" And we played it, and they're like, "Holy crap, that's so clear! Like it's so crystal clear." I go, and they're like, "What are you using?" I'm like, "It's the Zoom 32-bit float field recorder, and I just have it patched into a parabolic mic." So I have one of those set up here now at the house, so people can test that out or use it here. And the first time you use it here, it was just crazy the stuff you're hearing. And then I found a tape recorder that also it'll record on a tape, and then you can transfer it to an SD card internally. So I wanted to try that. It's old school traditional style, but a little bit newer technology. And I did it one session at the dining room table, the seance room, kind of the room I'm in right now, and got an EVP first try. Like just hit record, and I hear somebody say, "Can you hear me?" So I really want to try different things. You know, what I mean, we've all been trying a lot of the newer stuff. A lot of the newer
Cool.
technology, and no one's getting really too many advances. Some of us are backtracking to the basics just to try to get back to normal. Get back to the basics of what we're doing.
Yeah, we really have to question everything. There is no certainties in this field, but like, what do we lose when we go to digital instead of just analog everything?
Well, the 32-bit float thing. If you weren't using that, if you use a regular digital recorder, if you peak, it cuts the audio. So when you're using digital, if you get a high peakage, say you got the thing too high, bam, you just lost the audio. It just cuts right out. So that's why I like the
Yeah,
32-bit thing. But with analog, is it the magnet from the tape? The tape has a certain filament to it, things like that. You know how it's running. I don't know. I've always been curious to doing it, so I tried it. I was like, it's kind of different, you know.
So do you have a EMF meter in the back there or something that keeps lighting up?
Yeah, yeah. Got a EMF back there. What's behind me is I collect a bunch of different Ouija boards. Some of them were given to me uh, over time, and then over time I became a collector. But I have a couple that are from the 60s and 70s. I have one that was buried in the ground at a business out in Seneca Falls. A friend gave it to me as a security guard. Found it. They found it buried in the ground. Has really messed up energy on it. And
Hmm.
then the one above it, which is really large, that's a 1915 to 1918 Ouija board. I've used them in the past. I don't use them all the time. I don't believe. I believe a voice recorder, is no different than a Ouija. I mean, it's you're
Exactly.
you're using a tool to talk to. I think it's the intent you're putting out there is what you're going to get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on the same page. So I think that your intention, if you're trying to communicate with spirits from a location using a Ouija board, then you should generally get that. If you're just trying to look to have fun, is when it becomes an issue.
Yeah, it depends on the person's energy too. Some people are volatile, and they're going to get like a volatile spirit, like or maybe volatile is not the word, aggressive or
Yeah,
provoking, things like that. So you're probably going to get something a little bit more nasty that's going to come through than if you're more peaceful and trying to respectful. I think you're not going to get as bad of a connection with it. And it's the same thing anywhere, when you're trying to do any spirit communication. Sometimes you're going to get a bad one, you don't know who you're going to be talking to sometimes.
how did the spirits feel about you bringing in the objects, the Ouija boards?
I I really don't think because I have it enclosed, and oddly enough, this cabinet, it's copper wiring on the front of it, so it's almost like
Mm.
it's all grounded in there. So they didn't really seem weirded out by it. But the mirror, I went to an Airbnb in August with my sister and some other family members, and I came back in a mirror. It felt like really aggressive, like it was trying to like reach out and almost do something to me. So I pulled out Palo Santo and I put it on top of the mirror. I didn't burn it. And like the spirits in the house, all of them stopped talking. Like I didn't get any communication for like 20 hours. And then I turned on a spirit box and I'm like, what was the issue? And they're like, you scared us because of using the cleansing item. I go, I'm not gonna smudge this house. I'm not gonna this is your home. As far as I'm concerned, yes, I own it, but I'm more of a caretaker. Like this is still your house. I'm just here making sure it sticks around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go, I'll leave that stuff in here. It's locked up. Nobody's gonna touch it. And then they've told me they don't want like smoke or anything burned in the house, so I don't burn candles and nothing like that. They don't want the house to turn to
Mm.
ash. Is the response that I got. I'm like, I can understand that. So
It's interesting to think about, but makes sense.
but I mean, and for a lot of it too,
But
they
what
were.
was your intention in that time? Were you trying you weren't trying to cleanse anything?
No, I was just trying to. I was putting the Palo Santo there to kind of prove a point of like this will prevent you from continuing to do stuff. I'll just set it on here, and now you know who's in charge. Like you're not in charge. Just try. It's kind of like the alpha thing, and uh, and then everybody in the house, like nothing was coming through. It was crazy, craziest thing in the world. But I mean, for the most part, most of the spirits are pretty, especially the kids. The kids are pretty interactive, and most of the adults are pretty good. Nancy, uh, she's the one upstairs a woman, probably like a indentured servant type thing, somebody that worked
Yeah.
for the house that she doesn't like people in there.
How many is it 2 floors and a basement then?
Yeah, so there's an attic, which you can actually walk around in the attic, uh, and then there's the next floor down, which I would say is the second floor, and that's where most of the bedrooms are. There's two bathrooms on that floor, and then there's a staircase in the front of the house, staircase in the back, and then the front one brings you to the main floor, which has a hallway, a library that's huge, the parlor, which George Chase was one of the first coroners at the prison. So if people couldn't afford funerals, he would allow them to do the showings here. So they
Mm,
use that parlor kind of as like a calling hours area. And then you come further in, there's the dining room, which is kind of like the psychic area. This is where a lot of the mediums will do their readings. And then there's a room off to the side, which is kind of like a grounding. It's got a lot of plants and things, and it's just it's weird. You can be in the dining room to walk in there. You can feel the energy shift. It's a very neutral, peaceful room. It's very small, but you can go in there and kind of get yourself grounded again.
yeah, that's interesting.
Then you got the kitchen. The kitchen has activity too, voices and stuff coming through there. Um, then the basement. There's a basement is still we're working on things in there, but there's also a section of it that they use for the Underground Railroad. So like they would hide the people down there. It's just a section in the far back, and then they also would use it to store coal. They also, when he was the coroner at the prison, if he could help the medical examiner out, though he wasn't a medical examiner, he would do some medical examinations down there. And then there's another room, which is where they would keep the bodies if he was helping with the medical examinations, plus another spot they would like cold storage. And then underneath the basement is a 10-foot wide, 8-foot tall cistern. So a cistern is basically a well inside your house. And I believe Billy, the child spirit, through a spirit box session, I believe that's where he died, is in that cistern. He got trapped down there. I don't know when. I'm thinking it had to be right around when the house is first being built, but it's massive down there. It's,
But it's
10 feet.
underneath the basement?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the barn is 3 stories. The lower part is like horse stalls and supports. Next floor is right now I'm storing stuff for a friend in there, but it's a basically a main floor, and then there's an upper floor, which is where they had like the hayloft and stuff. And the upper floor
Yeah.
is where a lot of the activity is, where people are getting shoved or punched, held down, things like that. For people that have had experiences like that, um, since I've been here, people have been up there. Burning sensations, like when they go up there, they feel like their face is on fire. They also like feel like somebody's right in front of their face. And there was another experience because I have everybody. I have a journal, so everybody can write in the journal, tell me what they had for experiences. And
Is there any vandalism to the barn? Or
I mean, a lot of the place, a lot of windows were smashed in, doors are kind of broken in. So
no
those type of things.
pentagram or anything?
Not out in the barn, no. But I mean, it is a dirt floor. Who knows? There could be stuff buried down there that we haven't dug up. So you never know. But yeah, the main vandalism was really in the house, um, with the pentagram, and that tub is like one of the old ones, the claw feet and stuff. So it kind of sucks that they did that, but you just got to repaint it. Um, but yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 windows that were smashed from people breaking in and stuff. And
Yeah.
now every door has a padlock. Every door has a lock on it. So and I have cameras all over the place. So that was
Is there
literally the
heat?
first thing I did. when I came in here. Yep, the location I have heat. I have 4 beds upstairs. I also have 3 air mattresses, 4 or 5 couches. So I mean, I have enough capacity, for if people are booking it, like 8 people are going to stay here. Usually that's max for what I do. There's plenty of space for people to sleep, and blankets and pillows and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and the heat's on, the water works, the bathrooms work. So I didn't want to have people stay here and not have the stuff functioning. I mean, I want to make sure it worked before.
There
Start having.
are plenty of locations, though, especially in our state, that don't have those amenities.
Yeah, I've been to Rolling Hills 3 times, and it is cold as hell in March. Like it's whatever the cold is outside, add a little bit more inside there. It's got spirit activity too.
Yeah.
So
Does your place have any activity from the Underground Railroad?
I haven't found any um, information correlating to it yet. Like for people that might have been traveling through, a lot of the information through communication that I've got is more like when the farm family was here, which was when it was first built. So George Casey, and then George Chase, his family, which would have been during the Civil War, but I've never gotten anything that kind of correlates to the Underground Railroad. But I know it went through here, and I know that was used for that. And they were the Chase family was huge supporters of the Underground Railroad. Like they were friends with Seward, and Seward would come over to the house, and they would have parties and stuff. There's actually documentation about it, letters, thank you letters from Seward to Chase saying thank you for the invite, blah blah blah. So I know
Yeah.
that was occurring, which is cool. So
Makes sense. It's not very far from Mexico, and Mexico is a big spot.
yeah, yeah. But well, I mean, you got Harriet Tubman was a big advocate. She had a home here in Auburn. So and there's a lot of locations on South Street that were linked with the Underground Railroad. So and I'm on North Street, so South Street's just the opposite end. So I'm sure they utilize this to help the individuals.
Do you have any interesting stories from the groups that you've founded or worked with?
I mean, we trying to think, we captured a shadow figure at the mall. That was probably one of our most notable captures back in 2013. The old book room that they used for St. Joe's book fair. We actually captured a shadow figure footage in that room. And then 2015 with a thermal camera, there's actually a thermal anomaly of a person behind a person that wasn't there. And then, yeah, I mean, Hinsdale, we had like a cord move next to a TV. The dial got flung off the table. Wildwood, the first time we were there, it was off the handle. It was crazy active. And
Yeah.
then trying to think, there's a lot of our stuff we have on our YouTube for any of the findings type stuff. Even the older stuff is kind of out there. And I did do a show. The guy passed away, but I love sharing his story because it's really good information for anybody out there. He created his name is John Mizzy. He's a paranormal inventor. Not a lot of people knew who he was, but he took like a salad bowl, drilled holes in it, put mics into it, and would wear it during an investigation, and have a field recorder with like 6 hookups in it. And he would tell me about it and tell other investigators that anytime he went back through the stuff, 98% of his EVPs were behind him. They were behind him to
Yeah.
the right or to the left. And then he also was like, when you go to a location, leave a recorder on for like at least a mile after you left because they're still talking to you. But I always love sharing his information. He passed away a few years ago, but it's good stuff to get out there. So
And with us and other investigators being involved with filmmaking and that type of stuff, we're supposed to get ambient sound for a lot of the projects. Between that and static microphones, could really do more with that. Or
yeah, I thought it was fascinating what he said the mics were high end mics. They're really high end mics that he used, but it was like a
probably
Tascam
lavalier.
yeah, six channel Tascam recorder that he used. But he goes every time he goes back on it, it was almost every time it was behind him. The EVPs were behind him, never in front of him, but behind him. Almost like they're trying to probably whisper in your ear. I
Or
mean, it made
just exist without being interacted with.
yeah, yeah. So I always found that kind of fascinating.
I always end up getting stuff on camera audio.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, the cameras on the phones nowadays. That is one of the
Yeah.
best things about them is the microphones are so sensitive. Like you're actually able to capture pretty good audible evidence. The hindrance was always the shutter speed because the shutter speed was so much different than a regular camera. But they've definitely made advances in uh, that aspect. But I mean, even just going, I've told other people go into a location, just bring a voice recorder, pad of paper, voice recorder, and it just I like doing the burst sessions. Record for a minute, play it back, and to me, it feels like the most closest to like real time communication as you're going to get. Record, play it back, listen to it, and then if you felt you got a response, ask them another question, just keep going.
Have you tried real time audio recorder then? That style?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the parabolic mic thing. That's
Yeah.
pretty much the same concept. Yeah, I always love doing the burst sessions, even if it's video or audio. Just seem to enjoy kind of doing that. Kind of, uh, you can easily, like with a video, you can slow it down and really hear responses, and a lot of it you're just listening for something specific that you can understand, and then backtrack. Try to get your response that way. But yeah, for the Manor, yeah, we're open for people if they want to investigate. I saw you had an interest a few years ago. I saw that in the previous messages in the past. Love to have you
Yeah.
guys here. So
Yeah, back when Neppy was trying to make a YouTube series. Well, we made a YouTube series, but then the group kind of disbanded, and now we're trying to come back. So, but what is
yeah,
your rate right now?
for the month of December, we have a $50 discount on all investigations. So if you want to do a 5 hour, it's $100, and it's good for up to 5 people. And then for like an overnight, which any other place I've been to, it's 15 hours. I'm doing 16, so it's 6 p.m. until 10 a.m. And that's this month is $300 or it's 350 typically. And then depending on the situation, like for streamers and stuff, I do throw a discount. So you know what I mean,
Yeah.
because they're them doing streaming stuff. It's promotion. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting line trying to like
I was trying to match what
them to
everybody else was
film.
was doing, even though like Hinsdale, Wildwood, some of the other places that already are established. People know the location, but I was trying to
Yeah.
match similar to where they are, price wise. And then the other extent, I have tons of equipment. So when you come here, you don't have to bring anything. The team I had here last night, they didn't bring any equipment with them. I have
Mm.
equipment around the house, spirit boxes, K2 meters, the motion balls, laser grid. I now have the SLS system if somebody wants to use that. All these things are available for people when they're investigating. So I just ask that, after they're done, turn it off, set it on the table, so forth, and we're good. But I have a bunch of equipment available. There's heat here. I'm trying to make it, first and foremost, I'm an investigator. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I've been to places where, oh man, that'd be cool to use that. So that was my thought process. I'm like, I have some of this stuff. I'm not always going out doing private investigations. So why don't I put this stuff out there so people can use some of that stuff, you know, kind of, really get the full experience of going to a place and being able to actually investigate it.
And it's good for people just starting out. Really good for those people.
Yeah, the stuff, uh, it gets expensive. I mean, like,
Yes.
voice recorder. Stupidly, this voice recorder, it's the DP201 Olympus. Usually can buy them on eBay, Amazon, something like that. They dime a dozen, like 20, $25. Now they're probably going for 60 or 70. I prefer it because it has the large buttons. So this is my burst session recorder. In the dark, you can feel the buttons. You can feel what they are. And then, yeah, the goal eventually is the house itself will have different things in each room for communication. So like the parabolic mic right now is in Elizabeth's room, but it is portable. You can walk around with it. But I'd like to set up different forms of like a new style to try to communicate in each room.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to work with the spirits as I'm doing it to figure out, is that what they want in there? Like, are they going to use
Yeah.
that in that area? The bell, like the dead bells, everybody seems to enjoy them lately. And the spirits, especially the kids' room, if you go up there and read a kid's story, that bell is like ding, 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 ding. And before we started the show, the bell behind me was going off. There's
Yeah.
no electrical thing that's causing that. So I mean, it's they use it to usually get. It's super strange if somebody pulls in, and I'm not sure somebody was coming over. They'll ring the bell, like to get my attention. So I'm like, okay, I better look out the window. And then
Yeah.
the music box, we're trying to figure out a pattern for yeses and no to figure out communication with that. So if it's a short burst or a long burst. But usually the music box thing, I believe it's Vincent or Franklin. If people are investigating, they'll sit there and use it all night long. And then if you go up there and tell them to stop, it'll turn right off. And then as soon as you walk away, they turn it back on. But it's kind of uncanny. Like, to some of the stuff, it's pretty. They're so interactive and so intelligent. I tell them every day they're awesome because they really are. Like, it's awesome to be in that mindset with them, like to be able to do this with them. And they know my intent. I talk to them about everything. Like, I'll just talk out loud while I'm here and try to say, hey, this is what's going on. I ask them how their day's going every day. They were people, whether they passed or whatever you want to call them. At some point in their life, they were people, and I still consider them people. So
Yeah.
I learned that years ago, and it changed how I investigated. You don't go up to a stranger and immediately, what's your name? What's start asking, bombarding them with questions. They're gonna look at you like, So I mean,
Yeah.
you treat it like you're meeting somebody new, and then after that, it's just keeping the friendship alive. Keeping the honesty and the friendship and the trust. So
Well, it definitely sounds like you got something good going there. They're interacting with you daily, being
yeah,
present with you.
yeah, they're it's different sleeping here. You still get that weird vibe. Lights are out, you start hearing shit. You get anxious, and every once in a while they'll get me. I'll be walking by, and all of a sudden a bell will ring or go off, or I'll hear an audible voice, and it's at those unexpected times, and they'll get you, and I think they get a kick out of it. like anybody, but doesn't happen as much lately because I'm kind of more guarded on it. But when I see it happen to other people, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good one, guys. You know what I mean? You kind
Mm.
of you're cheering them on. So
It's definitely interesting. So, working, do you just have Facebook and the website? What are your social
yeah,
ones?
we have our Facebook page, Chase Manor of 1815, and we also have our TikTok, which is Haunted Chase Manor. We do have a website. It's right now it's the free version on Wix, but it at least gives the information out there. We do have for our investigations. You can either message us or go through Eventbrite and order like order a night or something if you want to do an overnight. I do want to switch it. Everybody else is using Peak, I believe is the name of the program. I do want
Mm.
to switch it to that eventually, so you could really book it. You could book it like 2 years in advance with that program. But for now, starting out, I'm just kind of going the way I'm going, just to try to get started.
Yeah.
So,
There was one other thing I was going to mention.
oh, and our YouTube. Eventually, I'm probably going to rename it to the Chase Manor. Drop the team name, but right now it's Upstate Ghosts. And I used to do interview the ghost hunter, interview the skeptic, our paranormal stories, Spirit Box Weekly, a bunch of Spirit Box stuff, um, and that stuff's been out there for a while. But I eventually want to refocus and get maybe start doing a show on the YouTube uh, channel again, but have it
Could
more
do it
focused
with each
with the
spirit.
manner. That'd be cool. I've always wanted to do interview with a ghost. Like since I did the interview the ghost hunter, which it was always about interviewing people that people didn't know. Like the your average Joe that goes out and investigates, not the big timers.
Yeah.
Not the people on TV, but your average person. And some of them have just awesome stories and awesome advice. And then the skeptic thing, I'm like, well, if I'm doing ghost hunters, I got to have a skeptic point of view. And you would think it would be easy as hell to find skeptics to interview. It's really not. People are not interested in actually sitting down to give their skeptical point of view publicly. You mean like to put it out there? And
Well,
I'm
there
saying,
isn't even
oh,
that
like
many
if anybody
skeptics
wants to,
left.
I'd love to see them, and interview them. But I always felt like a skeptic is going to help us come across better. Like we're going to get the information better to them if we understand what we're lacking when we're trying to let them know. And then, oh yeah, I always wanted to do a series interview with a ghost, like get it so in tune that I could sit there because I do 3D scanning for 3D printing. I'd love to be able to get a 3D scanner set up with a camera on it, have a spirit box going, or having something that they can come through clearly, and you can kind of see them, whether it's a connector, a 3D scanner, or a spirit box, and be able to actually talk to us to a ghost and just find out what it's like. I mean that would be awesome. And I did have a friend once. He goes, "What if you?" And I'll ask you this question, and you can ask another person the same question. So if you, as an investigator, you found out that ghosts are real, undoubtedly, and they told you you couldn't tell anyone, would you be able to do that? It's one of those really tough questions.
Yeah, it's like, would I be able to still investigate? Can I still create documentation to try to help prove them? Or
But I think it's a great question. It really is.
yeah,
It shows your intent, your integrity, whatever your answer is. And you don't need to answer me. I'm just giving you that question.
but yeah, the Connect would definitely be able to help, and if you could overlay that with thermal imaging or some other forms of light structure, then you might
Yeah,
actually
have
be able to do that.
you ever talked to John Griffin
Yeah,
with Wildwood? I'm hoping to get him here for that apparition hallway stuff. So I'd love to see how it's done and maybe try to maybe together we can figure out a way to actually see them. You know what I mean? That'd be between the 3D scanning stuff and everything else. Be freaking awesome.
yeah, you should reach out to him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely talk to him. But yeah, I'd love to because if you mean if you could get a 3D scan of the spirit's face, think of what you could do from that. You could almost search for them, search for their photo
Yeah,
and find out exactly who they are. It'd be pretty crazy. And the technology's out there. It's just a matter of figuring out how to integrate it into what we're doing.
yeah,
But it's out there.
and financing all that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I already got the 3D scanner stuff, so I'm already there with that. So
Do you have anything else you would like to mention tonight?
so each month we're either doing one or two events. Usually like we'll have a lecture, a discussion, people that and this goes out there for anybody if anybody's interested in doing a lecture. Like we're trying to get more hosts for like a free lecture for the public to try to have maybe 20 25 people come in and hear from investigators, hear from people that may do something interesting, urban from urban exploration to paranormal to psychics, whatever they want to do. I figure it's a good way to get people to see the manor, and it's a good way to get their information out there. And then we have a couple psychics, psychic medium Lorna Reynolds that does readings here. You can schedule readings. All you got to do is contact her through Facebook, or probably shoot a message to the Chase, and we can get the information to her. Or we also have a psychic medium, Renee Marie, that also does readings here as well. And it's basically just reach out to them or us, and we can get it scheduled for you. So you can, if you want to get a reading done, we, trying to open it up so it's not just, uh, just doing the overnight stuff. Trying to have it open for people that are interested in uh, doing paranormal things, using it kind of as a home and venue.
So for that, the lecture would be an event at the Chase Manor, or
Yeah, yeah, it's usually about an hour. Like an hour long lecture. We had one last year or not last month. We have another one coming up actually next weekend. White Light Research, Michelle will be speaking, and then we have psychic medium Renee Marie doing a gallery. So if anybody's interested in going to a gallery, and then the private readings, we kind of are trying to set that up so it's at like scheduled times, so they can figure that out. Because not Lorna lives locally. Renee's she lives a little bit further away, so if she comes out here, she's got to be able to schedule it.
yeah.
But yeah, just try to make it kind of like a paranormal venue / place to investigate, and eventually the goal is in the barn to build a music studio, build a indie special effects uh, workshop in there as well, and then basically all the little things with the manor are kind of helping the manor sustain itself. Keep it afloat, hopefully for the rest of the rest of however long it can stand. And I'm trying to keep it standing as long as it can. So
You may have already mentioned this, but do you do public tours at the Chase?
we've been asked about it. Right now, I'm just doing group stuff. So like the 5 hour is up to 5 people for it's either $100 for December or for future rate it'll be 150, and then for the overnights it's up to 8 people for 350. We have been asked about doing the public stuff. It's the location. It is large, but due to like contamination, things like that. Because when you talk on one floor, you can hear it on the next floor. So if you're on like the third floor and you're in the basement, sorry, the second floor and then in the basement, you won't have contamination. But if you're on the main floor and the second floor, you're gonna get contamination. So I've been trying to limit the amount of people for investigations, but
Yeah.
people have been asking about the public stuff. I just got to figure out the amount of people to do for a public and how long. Um, in the last event last month, we tried to do like a little public thing. We only had 3 people show up, so it was like $10 for an hour, and then 3 people were here. And I was like, oh, you guys, we can go longer than an hour. There's only 3 people here. Nobody booked the rest of them. So, if you guys want to go 2 hours, that's fine. So I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of it starting
Yeah.
out. So,
I think that's all for tonight,
okay.
unless you have anything else.
Nope. Just keep, keep watching our Facebook and our TikTok, and we have all our updates are on there and all our events. We have our events page on there. And yeah, we're open pretty much to investigations. It's usually Friday through Sunday for pretty much a lot of them. And then if there's any special things, like say you want to come in and do a stream or something during the week, just let us know. Message us privately, and I can set up a thing for it, and we can figure out what you want to do for a price and for a time slot. Um, I'm pretty flexible. I'd like to get more people to know about the place, because it's I would say it's probably in the state, um, investigation wise, having been to some of the bigger ones like Hinsdale, Wildwood, Rolling Hills, Sweet Home Estates. I'd say it's in the top 10 for New York State for activity. And I've had other people tell me the same thing. They've been to quite a few places, and they're like, this place is pretty active. They've been to like the Shanley, the Conjuring House, and a bunch of other places, and they're like, the Shanley is a whole nother level. It's very active, but like even John was a caretaker at the Conjuring House, and now 2 other people have told me this place is more active than there. So
Mm.
it's like, you just got to have the notoriety for people to be interested. So, but yeah, it's definitely active, and it's good too. Like they're intelligent, so it's pretty cool how interactive the haunting is.
Yeah,
So
it sounds similar to the Hinsdale house from my experience.
yeah, very very similar to that. Wildwood's pretty much the same too. I mean, I would put this up there with probably because I've been there. But all those places I already named, Rolling Hills, Hinsdale, Wildwood, and Sweet Home, they're all very decently active locations. So you go there, you're probably going to catch EVPs, probably get audible stuff. And I've only been owning the place for about 6 months, so who knows what other stuff is going to start happening.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of the doors being shut on their own. Heard shadows moving all in the past from other people. That there's a lot of shadow play. I've already heard the footsteps. You hear like boots walking down the hall, or children walking on the second floor, running through the hall, and then you hear
Mm.
giggles. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's in 6 months. I have 232 clips of like evidence or findings that I found at this location. And I've been to numerous other places, and I have like 30. I mean, but I'm also here a lot more too. So, but yeah, I would say every day, I can almost every day, I'm capturing a different tidbit of something.
Yeah, definitely make sure to check his stuff out. I'm
I,
sure
I
there's gonna be a lot coming out.
appreciate being on here and getting to chat with you. So
Yep. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
yeah, have a great night.